Hey, have you ever dealt with somebody and their finances didn't really match up with their lifestyle? So I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm 37, about to be 38. So about 20 years ago, when I was in college, I was a freshman. I met a young lady, and don't want to use her real name. Let's say her name is B. So B was really attractive, really, really smart, just a dope individual. But just based off of what she told me about her family history and her lack of having a job, just her finances didn't make sense. So I went to Georgia State, and it's in Atlanta. And back in like 2003, 2002, 2003, if you lived in Buckhead, it meant something. It may not mean nothing now, but it meant something back then. So she had this really, really fancy, like, loft apartment that she was living in. I don't know, man. It might have been like 1,800, 2,000 square feet. I mean, like, it just felt just ginormous. And at the time, she was riding around in like this like white like Mercedes. It was, I don't know, maybe a C-Class or something. I don't know. But it just didn't make sense. Like, she ain't had no job. She told me like that her family wasn't like wealthy or anything. So I was trying to figure out like how is she swinging this? And I don't know. It, like, now, as an older man, like, I would just ask. But at 18, I just didn't have the mental capacity to just ask. So I was trying to find context clues. So I remember like kind of hanging around there and, like checking her medicine cabinet. Because like first I was thinking, like, okay, she deals drugs. Like she has to be dealing with drugs. But that wasn't it. So I remember going over to her crib. It's probably like a Saturday night or something like that. So we have our little adult romp, and she's like fast asleep. So
in 2 miles, use the right 2 lanes to take exit 95A toward Augusta-Macon.
So I'm just kind of walking through her crib, just kind of looking around, trying to find something, and I found something that was very interesting. I found a DVD, and on the DVD, it had her face on a couple other girls. It was like, I don't know, but basically, the way that she was paying for this apartment and this car and all this stuff like that, she was, I guess, technically like a part-time porn star. But I never would have guessed it, based off of how she carried herself, like within her regular life. I never would have guessed that she did porn. And also, as someone who was like, currently sleeping with her, the sex was okay, but it wasn't like amazing. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess you would think that someone who is like in the adult industry, they would be great, but no. I mean, it was average at best. But that was definitely a surprise, because just looking at the environment that she lived in, the clothes she wore, the way she carried herself, type of purse she carried, phone at the time, it just, things weren't adding up. So I was like, okay, I know we're college students, and we get like sometimes you'll get like a refund from your student loans. And I think the most I ever got at one time, it might have been like $10,000 or something like that. And obviously, now I kind of realize, like, I probably should have just use that refund, just threw that shit back on top of my loan instead of just like spending it. But I was 18, didn't know any better. But yeah, that's kind of what I got for you guys, man. Like, she was one of those girls who was in the sex industry that was like kind of paying her way through school. And when I remember like finally asking her about it, she told me she had probably done about probably like 20 to 25 scenes or something like that. I'm not sure how much the rate was, but she parlayed that into a really plush environment, and she was pretty much like kind of actively doing porn like throughout our entire like college experience. So she was doing it like all 4 years. And what's kind of wild now, because like who's watching old porn from like the early 2000s? Not too many people. She's actually a middle school teacher now. Like she teaches like technology education at a middle school somewhere in the U.S. of A. And based off of just like how old that stuff is, I doubt it's gonna pop back up, because like she wasn't like popular or anything. Like it wasn't like she was like Mia Khalifa or Pinky or Jenna Jameson or something like that. She was just some chick who would do random scenes, and they probably change her name in each scene. It's like, oh, your name is Buffy in this scene, and then your name is Claire in this scene, and then in this scene you're whatever. But I'm just wondering, like, in your lives, have you ever encountered somebody that you just couldn't figure out like how they were making money and how they were living the way they're living? And sometimes the answer is pretty obvious. Like it might be something like their family has money or they're doing something illegal. But every once in a while, people have a unique hustle. But all right, guys, hold it down. Thank you again.